Okay, we've already got it rolling. We're starting the week and really looking forward to getting a really good week's preparation. Got a big trip coming up and going to a great place to play and against a team that we have a lot of respect for, and it's going to take a good preparation for us and all in. So we're gonna jump after it. The guys are ready to go again. That's what this day is all about, getting started for the next week, and we're doing it. So, fired up.
What's the preliminary plan, I guess, at left tackle for the game Sunday?
Same plan that we had when they asked me on Monday. Wait and see. You'll find out. George is ready to play, and Reese is ready to play, and we can use Jamarcus too.
With George, I mean, he's a guy that was playing basketball until last year. How are you guys surprised with how far he's come for a guy that basically had played football?
He has surprised us from the first day he stepped on the practice field that he just physically understood how to do the stuff that we asked him to do. He really was not. There was no way we could have anticipated that he could jump to it as quickly as he did. So we were really excited about him, and so he's been way ahead of the curve in that regard. Very unusual transition he's made.
You mentioned Reese there. He'd mostly been played on the inside. What makes him an option at tackle?
He's played left tackle throughout most of his career, so he has familiarity there, and he has worked there with us. He's worked at both sides at tackle throughout, really since we got out of camp, we started making sure that he could have the flexibility to play other spots. And we know he has the background.
You want to leave Gary Gilliam at right tackle then?
Yeah, that's one of the choices. I don't mean to be. I'm not trying to be coy with it, but we just got to get through the week and see how it goes. And so, but he has, he's been over there too some. So we have flexibility and we have choices.
How is Cam Chancellor doing for you at this stage? Is he going to be able to get back?
I hope so. We were optimistic, and so he has to make it through the week, and we'll see. We'll see. We don't know yet. Hoping.
You were talking about how this week recovery is a big thing. How has kind of the sports science data and that kind of thing that you have affected how you know when to pull back and when to let guys recover, that kind of thing?
We have been monitoring for a long time now. I mean, it's 3 years of trying to figure out how to do this and to make sense of the data, and we feel pretty confident that we understand it. Now, you can't measure guys in games. You can't use the equipment during the games, but we do know enough. And we have a good sense for it now, and I think better than I've ever had as a coach. And the support system, allows us to really be able to evaluate each guy, and based on the load that he's undertaken and all that. And so it does help us, and we really are responding to that regularly throughout the week, regardless of what happened the week before. It's a common practice for us now to check it out. Know how many plays the guy got, what kind of exertion, and we can estimate from the games, and then what's necessary for the next week. So there's a big process involved there that I've really appreciated. If you asked me 4 or 5 years ago if I'd be doing this, I would have said no. And so coaches for years have done it just really kind of just through their sense and instincts and savvy and all of that. Now we have some more support. So it's proven to us to be very effective.
Pete had some guys kind of limping around after the game. I guess that would happen after you play for 4 hours. But Bobby and Sherman, any update on those guys?
Those guys really have responded well, and they should be fine for the game. No problem.
Do you make any changes to the schedule this week based on all the volume of plays that you had? Fewer reps or more sleep?
Like we always do. We're really, we right from the beginning, leaving the locker room, we're talking about making sure that through the next couple of days, our rest is really important, eating properly and get everything all balanced back again. And so we've been all over that. So that kicks us really back to today. We're in a pretty normal mode, but we're still accounting for the guys that they had the big workloads, and we're going to take that into account as we measure their reps during the course of the week. So all of that's happening. It seems pretty normal to us now to be doing that.
Pete, there have been rumors that different guys around the league are on the trading block, stuff like that, and some, there's some high-profile offensive linemen. But how difficult is it to pull a deal off in the middle of a season when you guys are kind of moving in one way and kind of assessing those options?
Yeah, I don't know if it's as difficult as whether or not does it fit. Is it the right thing to do? At this time. I saw Minnesota made a big move, and with an offensive lineman, and you can do it. And there's, like I've told you, we exercise every option that's out there, and we go through every single one that we can think of, and So we're always watching and listening. John's all over it to make sure that we don't miss an opportunity. And some of them have a chance to to be talked about, and some of them don't. There's financial issues. There's all kinds of stuff. But that's just normal practice for us. And I know that some names have been popped around, but that's seems like the close to the baseball season a little bit. With the conversation that's going on. So, but we're on it.
Kind of natural this week that we look at Jimmy Graham. How did he come out of the game, and your thoughts on where he fits now?
He came out fine. Yeah, he came out of the game just fine. Jimmy's been on a real ascent here, for a month or so, since he really got his legs back under him and got enough play time, that he got to kind of what preseason would have been for him. He's really been flying, and it's been pretty apparent the chemistry between he and Russell has really turned on, and we love the fact that it feels like that. We know what we're going to get from that connection. We're utilizing him in the ways we think that will best suit the plans, and we don't hesitate to go to Jimmy at any time, and he's done a fantastic job. One of the things that I don't know how well you guys have checked this out, but his blocking has really improved. He's just taken over the spot. When he came here, he said, "I want to, I'm willing to be a all-around tight end. I'd like to be the best all-around tight end in the NFL," and that was going to encompass the blocking aspect of it. And every game he makes crucial blocks. He made a couple great plays at the end of the game, and he continues to improve and get better. His willingness has always been there. His technique now has really come along, and so it makes him a complete player, and we're thrilled about that. And he's fired up about it too. He's really proud that he has been able to learn a lot in the last couple of years and improve his play.
I think there were a lot of people who were really shocked by that deal when it happened because he had just signed the extension in New Orleans and putting up these huge numbers. I guess, how did that get on your radar? What was kind of your thoughts when you thought that?
Well, I don't think it's any different. Like I'm saying, it's any different than just a normal. The radar's up, and we're looking for what the opportunities and he's a great football player, and we recognize that, and we had a chance. Remember with the draft pick situation, and we took all of that stuff into account, and nothing was exclusive of anything else. I mean, we considered all the options that were going on. We thought that was the best way we could get the greatest value for a number one pick at the time, and I think it's worked out great. So it's really came down to that.
When compared against the handful of the best quarterbacks, what do you see from Drew Brees that even amongst the greats is really extraordinary?
He is one of the great players that's played this game, and he's done it. And I don't think of guys in that way until they've played a really long time, and he has sustained the great level of production for his, I don't know how many years it is that he's been there, but for the last 8 or 10 years, he has just been on top with huge numbers and huge consistency, and the kind of special performances, and the ability to pull off the finishes and the great red zone numbers, the great third down numbers, year after year after year, forget about what the makeup of the player is. That means nothing to me. It's just the kind of stuff that happens when he's on the football field is really of the great players that have played the game, and his numbers bear that out. And he still looks great. He's 68.5% completion right now. Almost 8 yards of play and stuff. I mean, he's just doing great stuff. So this is a really big time challenge for anybody that plays these guys, and he keeps putting the numbers up every week. So he's the second ranked offense and all the rest. And he doesn't look any different than he's looked for a long time. He doesn't look like there's any diminishing qualities to his play. He's always been a great touch guy and a great precision, accuracy guy, and a great rhythm guy too, getting the ball out. So that they've only been sacked 9 times. And so he's a phenomenal talent, and so it's a great challenge for us.
I think a challenge is the way they spread the ball around. They haven't had
they
one
do.
go-to guy.
They know. Sean knows what he's doing. He uses his players. He uses formations. He uses tendencies and situations and all that. This is the big time throwing game that you can see in the NFL, and this is as high powered as you get. And we have great respect, and we've seen them over the years. We know, and here it is again. They're still on it, and they've plugged other guys in, and they've been able to maintain a great level of production with other guys too, which is really impressive.
In your experience, what's the biggest challenge for guys in terms of accepting their roles on a team?
Just in a general sense, you're asking.
In general sense, whether that be a rotational player or the fact that not everyone's going to be able to have 10 catches, or.
I think it's the character of the player that allows him to realize, okay, this is what they're asking me to do, this is what my team needs me to do, and I'm a team guy, and I'll do that to the best of my ability. And not everybody is suited that way. Some guys want, they're just their makeup is different, and it is, I think, being really clear and honest and straightforward with what your expectations are, and then honing that player to fit it properly, and then. But I also think when you say that, it's always important to me that the guys try to bust their way out of those roles too, and expand their roles, and not to settle for it. So there's kind of a fine line in there that we expect from guys, and so there's a lot of conversation, and there's a lot of observation to see if is a guy starting to break out where he can expand and do more. I mean, an example I would use is Deshaun Shedd. He was a guy that was a special teams guy, and he was playing safety, and then he worked a little bit at corner, and he was able to show us stuff at corner that gave us the thought, okay, well, he can be more than that. And so we zeroed in there, and he became a corner. He's a starting excellent corner in our system for us. And had we just settled with one aspect of that role back then, this never would have occurred. And so I don't know, that kind of stuff. Yes.
Well, it was the timing of Drew Brees, too, and the way that he gets the ball at it. I know your pass rush has been very effective the last few weeks, but what does that timing, how does that pose a challenge?
It challenges your coverage to be aggressive. If you just lay back, he'll just tear you up. He'll hit 75% of his passes, and he'll have a clean day. So we have to be very aggressive in coverage that matches with the rush that's coming, so he doesn't have the opportunity to get everything out. He's going to get the ball out quick anyway. Even in one-on-ones and tight coverage, he'll still get the ball out. But you have a better chance of slowing him down some. The rhythm, when he really wants to go fast, there's almost no rush that can get there because he's coming out in probably less than 2.5 seconds. It's really close to 1.9s right in there. And that when he's like that, the ball's going to get out. So you have to have coverage that's close, and you got to make him pay for that, that release. And the only way to do that is to play good aggressive coverage. And so it's the combination. When you play a great quarterback, it's the combination of all aspects. You can't just cover them, and you can't just rush them, and you can't just blitz them. And you have to be able to do all those things, and it has always been that way.
How concerned are you about the state of your run game right now?
I think we're still progressing. I think we're still working at it. I don't like at all the numbers, because they're not familiar numbers for us, and so that's really attempts is one of the things, but it's pretty clear, that Russell has not been able to get any yards rushing. He's usually averaging about 300 yards a game rushing at this time. Not 300 yards a game, 300 yards total. About this time, he's at 33. So that's a big difference for us, and so we're playing to that, and we're going to do the best we can until that adjusts.
You talked about wanting to run the ball more. You mentioned the attempts. 12 of the first 14 plays Sunday were passes. Why not just come out and run the ball more?
Because you can do that, and you wind up second or third and 9 or 10. And if once they start loading up on you, and you're not going to get anywhere. That's killing the game. We'll do what we need to do to move it, and we'll run it when we want to run it too. So that doesn't do you any good. That's not the way we play.
What was your overall assessment of how the line played Sunday, and then when Fan had played in the overtime period? I mean, you moved the ball pretty well during those series.
Yeah,
what was different there?
When you get through the game, you give up one sack. That's a good marker. We're protecting the quarterback, and the timing of it is working out. Russell's doing a really good job working with the protection. So they did okay. He still got hit a couple times, and right off the bat we got knocked, and we made a little mistake that caused that. But I think we're much more confident in our pass protection than we've been, and I think that they're doing a really nice job collectively. I mean, there's only a couple sacks in the last couple games. Hope we can keep that rolling. The combination, the fact that we're not getting enough yards rushing is really, to me, it's attempts, and that all goes back to third down stuff, which has nothing to do with those guys. I think those guys are working hard. They're doing a good job. I think we're cleaner than we've been, and you can see that we're making progress. George did fine once he settled in. He's a really good athlete, but he's new, and so there's going to be new things that happen at times, and we got to just hope that we help him properly, and he can come through and make it through it, and we can get the ball away if he does make an error. But pretty excited about him, though.
When circumstances do force you to put in a less experienced player in a key position, what's your biggest concern? Is it playbook knowledge? Is it technique? Is it
really
too big
depends.
a moment?
It depends on who the guy is and where he comes from, his background, and all those kinds of things. In this instance, this is as rare an instance as you get. Here comes George Fant. He's never played football before, and so the concerns would be everything you can think of. However, he is quelled those concerns by the work that he's put forth, by the competitive nature that he brings, by his athleticism, which is really good. He's got a lot of pluses for him that have just come out very early, much more quickly than we could have anticipated. So probably the biggest thing is just communication and doing the right thing. That's really the concern that's most at hand. Whomever comes in, it's a little bit different talking to a different guy. Does he hear things the same? Can he respond? Can he identify as quickly as the guy that's played before and identify accurately? Those are the kinds of concerns, and more than a lot of the other things, that's our first thought. And so that generally just takes time, and so you have to work your way through that.
You guys were in the nickel a lot of the time in Arizona, but Cassius Marsh did see some time at Sam. Just how do you think he played?
He worked really hard at it. This is his first time he's ever played. It wasn't a lot of plays. I don't know, it was 15 or something like that he played. But he worked hard to get it done. He's a rusher. He's a rusher that's learned how to play linebacker, and he's a very aggressive attack type of guy. And so he has to learn that part of the nature of being a linebacker, and he's working at that.
Kevin Pierre-Louis, does he have a chance to get back this week?
He has a chance. Yeah, he has a chance. He's going to do some stuff tomorrow to run and see how he fits back into it.
Bobby doing the leaping over the line on the field goals, is that something, he talked about, he kind of saw that. Does he have to get approval from you guys to do something like that, or does he just sort of do that on his own? Or?
Yeah, that was a game plan thing. That was something we worked on during the week. He didn't just come out of nowhere and do that. That would have been, no, we don't do that.
Bruce Arians' comments, he was pretty vehement that he thinks that's an illegal play or ought to be an illegal play.
It's not an illegal play. It's not. And we talked to the guys, and it's not. So he has his opinion on how he'd like that to go, but it's not an illegal play.
Did you check on that before the game? Like, is that something you?
Yeah, we've done that. We've done it before. We've been through this before.
Arian
You have to do it right. You have to do it effectively, and it takes an extraordinary athlete with great timing and the guts to pull it off, and Bobby did all that.
Arian said he thought it was a dangerous play and bad for football. Do you have?
Yeah, well, it is when you land on people and you jump off them and you catapult and all that. That's why the rule is as it is. If you make it cleanly, then it's very safe, and that's what Bobby was able to do.
Can you clarify just the misunderstanding there that's going on? Is it basically
there isn't a
he
misunderstanding.
can touch the guy but not vault?
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you. You can't use the other player to gain an advantage. That's basically what they're looking for. And if you get through that without doing that, then you're okay.
You mentioned the Saints.
Does that clear it up?
Perfect.
You mentioned Drew and the Saints kind of doing it year after year after year, and that's what makes it so impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Defensively, you guys have been doing that. Did you sense a turn coming with your defense before 2012? Was there a time in 2011, or was it kind of obvious when you were getting it?
Yeah, I'll get messed up on my years, but 5 years ago, so 6, so it would have been going, at least 5 years ago, whichever one that was. That was about the time when we saw that we had the core of the guys we thought we could really build on and build around, and that's what we've been doing since. And they've been remarkable. They've been extraordinary for us. And fortunately, they're all still able to keep playing, and they're, nobody's, getting gray in the temples or any of that kind of stuff. They're all, they're hanging in there playing and doing a lot of good things. So we've got a good future with these same guys too.
Is the consistency of it?
I don't know where that gray in the temples thing came from, Danny. I know you want to know what that means. I have no idea. I've never said that before.
Consistency of it, kind of what the most pride it comes from,
Yes.
just doing it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's what that's what you're trying to accomplish, is to show that you can do stuff really well for a really long time, and that's much more important to me than some spiked year where you have big stats and all that kind of stuff. It's to show that you got it together to keep coming back and keep coming back and keep coming back, and they can't do anything about it.
Any updates as far as the timeline?
I'm sorry, Pete, because he hadn't played, what was it about Fant that made you go get him or want him?
Really, it was John and the guys, the local guys. They thought they saw something. We saw the workout. We sent guys to the workout to see him. There's a number of those guys every year that we look at, and the kind of transition type guys, and he was one of them. He didn't get a chance to show much football-wise. He didn't play much at all. So it was really based on the workout, which was a really effective-looking workout and all that. And so that's just kind of a gut call, really, by the guys that were there, and because there was no film to evaluate. So.
Just a quick update. Is there any update on the timeline for Bradley Sowell or Luke Wilson?
Sal's looks like he's not hurt. I tell you, I don't know how this happened. He's in a stance, out of stance. We're gonna see what happens another day from now. But he's looks great. So whatever recovery he's making, he is 1,000 miles ahead of what schedule could have been. I don't know what that means when he starts to take a workload, but he's barking at us right now. He thinks he can play. So I don't know how he's able to do that, but something's in the water. I don't know.
Is there a chance he could play Sunday, Bradley?
You would never think so. He shouldn't be able to, but he's trying to talk us into it today. So, if I can tell you. I can't imagine that's going to happen, but we'll see.
Anything else? Thank you.